All right. Good morning. Good morning. We are now live. This is Haki.
Mr. Richard.
Yes.
Yes. Hi.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I have live in Tanzania. So let them share where they are in Tanzania. But I have Clarence Mosha, Executive Director of Save Education and Future Development Foundation, and Richard J. Jmtambo. So welcome, Brother Jmtambo. Good afternoon to you. You guys doing well?
Thank you very much, brother.
Good.
Yes. We are so good.
Yeah. So where are you now, Richard? You in Bagamoyo? You home?
Yes.
I'm in Bagamoyo.
Okay. So
I'm in Bagamoyo.
Okay. So Clarence, so where is your organization from? You in Bagamoyo as well? So tell us about Save Education and Future Development Foundation.
Mr. Mosha, I think you are off. The mic is off.
Unmute.
The mic.
He has to unmute. Hold on. Yes, Richard, he has to unmute. Hold on. Yeah, he has to unmute himself, Richard.
Yeah, Mr. Mosha, you can unmute your mic. Your mic is off.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I think you can repeat, Brother Haki.
No, so tell us about your organization.
I hear you in a very low.
Make sure everyone's volume is up. Wait a minute.
Hello.
Mr. Richard.
Yes, now we hear you clearly. Yeah. That's how it is.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I also do get you, but in a very little voice. I don't know what I'm facing here. I remember those days, Mr.
Now
Richard was the one to fix such problems. Yes, greetings to Mr. Haki Ami. How is USA?
Everything's great. So tell us about your organization. Okay.
Yes, we are all doing here fine.
Beautiful.
Yes, my name is Clarence Mosha, Mr. Haki. I think we can start.
Yes.
My name is Clarence Mosha. I do working with a local NGO named Save Education and Future Development Foundation, which is basically a small organization established in 2016 by a team of 5 members, I being one of the founding members, and Mr. Richard. We founded this organization in 2016, aiming at improving access of quality and equitable education to rural communities where we are living.
Yes.
And this was inspired by the challenges facing our education system in Tanzania. I think you somehow know the challenges we are facing here in sub-Saharan countries, Tanzania being one of it. and those challenges in education sector are much affecting people living in rural areas, like where we are operating here in Kilombero, Malinyi, and Ulanga districts. So this organization was founded to come up with plausible actions towards removing the barriers, education barriers to children living in vulnerable condition, including poverty of the families, and also those families which live in remote areas and inaccessible. As previously, such communities were left behind in the current education system. So this is what inspired us to start up an organization to work in our own communities. And this organization is registered here in Tanzania to operate in all over the country except in Zanzibar. And its headquarters is located in Ifakara, Morogoro, Tanzania. I think it is not the first time to hear such this place. So we are working to achieve a vision of a health, protected, and educated community, which lives in conducive, also empowered. So we are working in areas of having an educated community, which will be healthily protected and economic empowered. And what is our vision? At the beginning, we visioned that we wanted to achieve this vision through ensuring that we stimulate and activate our own communities towards effective use of the available resources, including lands and other resources which are surroundings in our communities. So we believe that by promoting the effective use of the available resources, involving the vulnerable and the poor communities in planning and making decisions of their own development, would boost up economic development, livelihood development, and so forth. So, Mr. Haki, we Save Education, we do work in 3 areas. One is preschool and primary school. This is under thematic area named as Education for Sustainable Development. So we are working to ensure that education which is provided and accessed by the rural communities enhance them into sustainable development. So we work and we develop various programs towards strengthening access of equitable and inclusive education. As our experience shows and the researchers shows that rural communities were the ones who are left behind in the normal education system, and if they are included in, they do receive less quality and less equitable education, and hence increasing poverty in those areas. So we work on such area to ensure that education is provided to rural communities, and the education provided to the rural communities enhances them to attain what's so-called sustainable development. Also, we do work in environmental sustainable livelihood. This area we do promote various environmental protections and managements towards improving rural communities' livelihood. So we are here we're talking of conservation, which involve sustainable economic activities in our communities, like agriculture, which involve conservations. We are speaking of agroforest here. We are speaking of indigenous land care practices in our areas. We are speaking of food security through various environmental sustainable mitigations. And this all aimed at impacting, reducing the risk which we are facing of climate change here in Africa, here in Tanzania, and worldwide. So we are working in such areas, and in that area we are working mainly with youth, training them on how to plant trees, how to recycle waste in our environment, like plastic bottles, working on the street papers and so forth, to ensure that they convert them into usable and impactful materials to be used in our communities. So also our last area which we are working in, we do work in promoting good governance and partnership. We believe that with partnership and good governance here in African countries, we can make larger steps towards sustainable developments in our societies and in our communities. So in good governance, we do capacitate communities, especially the poor and the marginalized groups, to be front of the education development and towards the reduction of the poverty and so forth. So communities are engaged. We work to ensure that communities are engaged in planning processes, are engaged in monitoring development. In communities, they participate in decision making, and also they mobilize resources in their local areas to enhance social and economic changes in the area. So these are the three thematic areas which we are working, and from our beginning, we combined those three areas in two program areas. We have seen that due to our organization capacity, including issues of fund, issues of staff, issues of technical capacities of our staff, we grouped these three thematic areas into two programs, which one is, we call it Jamii na Shule and Maarifa Maktaba. These are the two programs which we are implementing here in Ifakara and nearby districts since our establishment. So you can come up with some questions like, why are you choosing education sector? The answers to such questions, we are saying that the challenges which exist in education sector here in Africa and Tanzania particularly are the key causes of other challenges in other sectors. We have seen that with little or poor educations, our communities cannot convert the practices in agriculture, maybe, for example, to be more impactful. So we are believing that if our communities will receive equitable, quality, and more inclusive educations, we are going to see many changes in other sectors. So education, and why we decided to and how do we react to those challenges in education sector. We said that by designing 2 programs which will act upon those challenges, which are found, we grouped those challenges into 2. We have challenges in schools and we have challenges in communities, especially to students. So challenges in schools, we say that they can be addressed through Jamii na Shule. This Jamii na Shule, it is a program which implement projects. Richie, Mr. Haki, Jamii na Shule means community and yeah. So Jamii na Shule projects are implemented since 2018 up to now to improve good governance in primary schools in rural areas. So we are these programs and these projects which are implemented under the Jamii na Shule are aimed at addressing challenges which exist in our schools. Here we are speaking of challenges like a shortage of infrastructures. We are speaking issues around wash and sanitation in our schools. We are speaking issues around community participation in school matters. We are speaking around issues of policies which govern provision of education in our schools. We are speaking issues of enrollment. We are speaking issues of teachers availability, issues of and so forth. So Jamii na Shule objectively tend to work with local authorities to ensure that the responsible personnel or responsible organs in education sector delivers so-called quality services in schools. Also, with such projects, we objectively want to see transparency in schools, issues around accountability and application of law in schools, such as those enacted policies and laws. We want to see them, they do work. So what we do in school under Jamii na Shule. Under Jamii na Shule, Mr. Haki, what we do is just we generate information. We generate information from various sources in schools, like we are doing so-called expenditure tracking in primary school financing. Also, we do some social accountability monitoring. So those informations generated are useful to local and central governments to improve various issues which we may found at the school level. And also we do empower and equip community members, including parents, pupils, school committees, and so forth, to better monitor service provision in their schools. So Jamii na Shule works to ensure that those things are being well coordinated and being done in school. So we have been doing this since 2017. We worked with 6 schools here in Ifakara. Also in 2018, we worked with other 7 schools in Kilombero district. Also in 2019, 2021, we worked with 12 schools in Marinyi district. So this work has been very impactful impactful by reaching more than 40,000 students in those areas in a period of 4 years. So we are proud of that one. By working with them, we have seen a lot of changes happening in schools, like rehabilitation of the infrastructures. Mr. Richard, if you do remember, also
Yes.
we have attained issues around increased community participation in decision-making processes. By then, when we were starting doing such a work, I do remember parents' meetings in schools were attended by 20 to 40 parents, but nowadays we have seen that more than 120 parents have been attending, and even the number of parents engaging in school decision making have been increased from 20 to 60%. That is a big result, and also we have helped our children to access issues, to access meals. I do remember this, Richard, was his favorite issue when we visit schools. How do our children access food? So we impacted more than 16,000 students here. More than 12 schools have been providing schools. It is not normal, and it was not normal to our schools to provide food for the children at school. So by our work, we have seen that students now are getting meals, breakfast during school time, and even lunch at their own schools. This increases their performance in their national exams, and also their participation, and even issues around dropout. And yes, dropout has been reduced due to such interventions. And also we have seen constructions of classes through interventions. Jamii na Shule program, we have been able to influence constructions of 4 satellite schools. I don't know if Mr. Haki, this is a familiar word to you. When we say satellite schools, are the schools which are built in areas where there is no schools. So they built some few classes so that the children can start learning there, and later to be transferred to the other schools which have been located in far distant. So we have been able to influence constructions of 4 satellite schools here in Ifakara, and 2 satellite schools in Malinyi district. So this helps our students to get education in the nearby homesteads or home places and so forth. So the issue of classes, previously we have seen there is increasing enrollment in our schools, and the number of classes remained the same. So to tackle this, we worked with the local authorities and the community themselves. We capacitated them on how to mobilize resources on their own, so that they can initiate the construction of the classes. So one of the things which we are proud of is that one, that is building classes and reducing the issues of number of the students in the classes. So teacher-student ratio or classes-student ratio become moderate in such a way that if teachers are teaching in the classes, the children can really catch up what the teacher is teaching. Also, we were able to improve provision of such sitting desk. Sitting desk in Tanzania, it has been a challenge. So we were visiting schools which had such a problem and start to intervene with the local authorities to ensure that they do make the sitting benches and writing benches for our children in schools. Also, issues around teachers' houses in our schools. We worked a lot on that area to ensure that we attain provision of water services. Here we are talking more than 12 boreholes have been built in schools, one of it being Miwangane. Richard, you had that photo, a very famous photo of you. Also, constructions of teachers' toilets. So, Mr. Haki, in education provision, we worked a lot to ensure, and we achieved a lot in that area, and we are much proud of that successes within 4 years to 5 years of operations. But this is somehow limited. This work is somehow limited, especially after the eruption of COVID-19. Mr. Richard, you do remember that one? COVID-19 disturbed operations of many donors and funders of such interventions here in Tanzania. So it becomes somehow difficult to implement those good governance projects in schools, and we don't have enough fund currently to fund such programs. So we are working here hardly to ensure that we get other partners who we can work with them on the areas of good governance in schools to ensure that what we have been doing, we do it in other places and we maintain it, and we reach more beneficiaries. So this was all about the Jamii na Shule program. And secondly, we do have another program. This is Maarifa Maktaba. So Maarifa Maktaba, Mr. Haki, it was an idea coming from us within the organizations. We had a research around how do children learn during after school hours. As the findings of that study revealed that many children they only learn academic issues and other issues when they are at school, and less being able to access learning or academic learning during home time. So we figured out issues like lack of learning resources in our local families. We figured out issues of lacking tables and chairs at homesteads that children can use them to learn. Also, we found that our homestead, due to poverty and illiteracy of the parents in some circumstances, tends to limit the opportunities for the children to learn during after school. So to address that challenge, we designed, we call it a community library, but naming it as a Maarifa Maktaba. Maarifa is like knowledge, and Maktaba is library. So it is knowledge library. Knowledge library or Maarifa Maktaba works during evening hours here in our localities to ensure that children, after attending school hours or school sessions during the evening time, they get a place where they can they can get learning resources like books, like internet, like table and facilities of that kind, like computers. They can have tables, chairs, so that they can keep doing maybe their homeworks and so forth. So Maarifa Maktaba, Maarifa Maktaba, we say that with it we allow children to have fun while learning during after school hours. So Maarifa Maktaba also provide sports activities to the children's, also provide what's so-called games, provide culture trainings and so forth to children, to make it more attractive to them while they are taught various issues. So here with Maarifa Maktaba, what do we do under Maarifa Maktaba? Maarifa Maktaba provide a room for students here to learn book and access learning facilities, also to be trained in IT, like computer training, early training in computer.
Great.
So assistances to the left behind students. It is we for the children to cope up with the teachers in schools due to their numbers in classes. So with Maarifa Maktaba, we are working to identify those children who are poorly performing in schools and engage them in Maarifa Maktaba so that we can help them to catch up what has been taught in the schools. And this is we have been doing this through teachers assistances. We are using volunteers here, especially graduates from our universities who are not yet being employed, so that they do take time to spend with the children here to ensure that they are taught in various areas. Also, in Maarifa Maktaba, we do provide we do provide sports activities like football, netball, volleyball, basketball, tennis. But true speaking, that football has been more active compared to other programs due to accessibility of the playgrounds for other sports compared to football and so forth. Also, Maarifa Maktaba we promote innovations. We identify early innovators of various issues or various technologies, various I don't know what to say, but to ensure that children become more skillful in the area of innovations, to ensure they discover various issues. Like under this area, we are able to discover recycling of waste products into useful products like fertilizers. Children are making fertilizers from waste products. Children have been working, cooking charcoal from papers, and so forth. So that innovations also we insist them, and we have been teaching here to ensure that our children become innovators to the existing challenges in our communities. Also, we provide life skill development. Life skill development aims at preparing youth to be better citizens in the near future and responsible citizens in the near future. So Under these life skills, we are teaching them about their health. Maybe we are teaching them about issues about drug abuse. We are teaching them about adherence to laws and so forth. We are teaching them about environmental protections and management. And these children do plant trees in their street and so forth. So this is what we have been doing and under Maarifa Maktaba, and some remarkable impacts we made from this. It is since the beginning we were able to recruit library members of 190. We have 190 members with a daily attendance of 30 to 50 students per day. So this is remarkable outcomes that we innovated something and benefits around 190 students. Also, Maarifa Maktaba increase the school performance of the students. We do monitor how students who are the members of the library, how do they perform in their internal examinations and national examinations. So we have seen some changes. Some were the last 10 were found in the last 10, but nowadays they are at the mid, and even some are entering the top 10 in their exams. So it is one of the best things we are doing. And also learning culture. We do say learning culture, it was a big problem to many children in Africa or in Tanzania generally, but specifically in Ifakara. Children were not having that culture of reading books. So with Maarifa Maktaba, children now are much interested in reading books, especially story books. So we are currently 10 to 20 students have been borrowing books here daily, specifically story books for reading and so forth. So that increases the culture of reading books. Also, Maarifa Maktaba increased interest of science subjects to secondary students. Here we have 24. Currently, we have 24 students. Among them, we have 17 students who are taking science subject. So we can see the difference between those who are taking science subjects and those who are taking art subjects. So the interest of them become high as they believe that there is a place where they can get resources like books and get those practical practices in their academic career. Also, through Maarifa Maktaba, we have identified so-called, we call them as talent students in football. We were able to run locally organized football competitions to identify young footballers or athletics, so that we can nurture them towards professional football and reduce the burden of unemployment and so forth. So we have identified them and we have been nurturing them through providing football gears, providing them with balls, providing them with coaches who work with them daily to ensure that they well develop their career. So this is all about what we are doing here, Mr. Haki, specifically to those 2 areas I have mentioned before, that is Jamii Shule and Maarifa Maktaba. So to go further, I would want to also to hear the capacity gap we do have here. On the issues of capacity gap we are having here, one of the most pressing issues here is a lack of strong partnerships. Yeah, we do lack partnerships to work with partners, to work with them in areas which we do work on. So this limits us our ability in building staff capacity. With less partnership, we are lacking behind in resource mobilization. We are lacking behind even in impact in such areas. Also, we do have human capacity building here in our organization. We don't have a very strong personnel to work in various areas, like those who can help us to guide us in issues around laws and so forth. So we do work that one, but not in a very effective way due to some of the challenges we are facing as a staff team, and even the gaps which exist. Small number of staff, because it is somehow difficult to hold volunteers here without being paid in to sustain for their life. So it is few people who devote their time, their commitment to such works, and most of the time we're working voluntarily. So it is somehow limiting us to reach wider community and to make more impact and more voices to the communities. So also we do have resources shortage to support our core business activities, that is financial and materially, like Jamii Shule program needs much financial support to run such activities. Such intervention in local areas needs resources to cover transport, resources to pay some living costs for the people who are traveling to the villages, issues around stationaries and so forth. Under Maarifa Maktaba, some of the challenges, to highlight few, is shortage of books. We don't have enough books here to support all 190 students who are coming. Also, we do lack some of computers, IT materials to teach all the students here. We do lack a laboratory room for the students to come and practice those academic practices. Also, in the area of the sports, we don't have enough playgrounds for our students here to utilize. Also, other sports utilities, small utilities like balls, sport wares, teaching boards, and so forth. So we do face some of the challenges, but these challenges, I can say that they are not limiting us to move, but they are giving us a motivation to move forward. We are working very hard to ensure that such challenges do not provide 100% obstacles to our our implementation of our program. So, Mr.
Okay,
Haki,
great.
thank you for listening. I would like to end up here.
Okay.
I would
Yes, sir.
like you guys to 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 comment something, but Richard, I think you can add up something because Richard is one of my early staff
Mhm.
whom we worked day and night. I do
Right.
remember those hard times we had before. Mr. Richard is the one who created this backyard bookshelf. Is the one who
Oh,
created them. So it is very
oh,
inspiring and so forth. So, Mr. Richard, you can speak something.
Oh,
Richard,
wow.
you're
Thank you
welcome.
very much for this time. And thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brother Haki. Thank you, Mr. Mosha. I think Mr. Mosha talked almost everything about self education, but and what I can add on the topic of maybe how we get how self education gets funds, is by through big organization, especially from Tanzania. All the implemented activities, especially those Jamii na Shule, was funded by organization from here in Tanzania. But Marifa Maktaba, of course, is not funded, but is just learned through the contribution of staffs, and that's how we started this Marifa Maktaba program. Is just the contribution of the staffs and and so far. So maybe what I can add is also how we can uh, how self education can have partners outside of Tanzania, and that's can I think this can help to bring a tremendous impact to self education, you know, and that can also help to get funds to run more projects in the future, because a lot of organizations and foundations are dying in because of lacking of strong partnership, lack of funds and something like this. But for me, I would like to end up here. I think Brother Hack have a lot of things to share with us about that. Thank you, Brother Hack.
all right. All right. So thank you. And I'll send you a copy of this. And we look forward. We will be there end of July and into August as well as October. So we look forward to learning more about your organization and possibly seeing you all when we get there in October. I'm sorry, yes, October and July. So, all right. So have a good night. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
All right, brother. So we'll see you soon. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Clarence Mosha, Save Education and Future Development Foundation. So thank you. All right. We can end that. All right. Have a good day. Thanks a lot, brothers.